Hi, all you VIP kid teachers out there. I thought I would just give a quick Monday morning after a very long weekend of teaching update. I did 33 classes this weekend, starting at Friday morning at 5 a.m. I worked all morning and then all evening through the night into Saturday morning and then again Saturday night into Sunday morning. And I managed to get in 33 classes. So that was big for me. I've never done that before, and I'm not thinking that I will do that heavily again. I think I will give myself some space from here on out. But I did want to just say that it was a challenge, and I think that part of me enjoyed that challenge of trying to go through the night and see what happened. I was fortunate enough to have a husband who's very supportive, and when he would hear me say goodbye, he knew that my camera and my mic go off at that time, and then he would come flying in with a cup of coffee or some water or something for me, and make sure I was okay until it was time for him to go to bed. And then I slept in on Saturday, which was great because I don't have children at home. So I was able to do that and just get my rest that way and then relax through the day on Saturday and then go back to work Saturday evening. I think around 8, 7 or 8, I started on Saturday evening and went through till about 2 a.m. So it was quite an interesting experience. I think one of the things that when you're doing something like that, you can't do what you might think you could do as far as preparation goes. You really are working pretty much on the fly. I will say that when what I've noticed now with my classes is that as I'm getting used to the classes themselves, I'm seeing the pattern and the rhythm of what they're going to do. And I also am seeing the excellent way they layer the curriculum to review so much that, oh yeah, I've done that before. May not have taught this actual unit, but I have taught the unit before or the unit after. And so there's an overlap in information and material. So that's helpful. I wouldn't suggest it being new. It was difficult for me, but it was great. I mean, I didn't have any trouble, and I had great students, and I really enjoyed it. And I did have um, 4 signups, I think, as a result of just my weekend work, which was great to have 4 new students come on board. I had a really good mix of master courses, main courses, and then the trial students. I didn't have a ton of trials during that time. I had more kids that were regular students. So it was enjoyable to me to see some of my older students, that the ones that I've had already in just the short time I've been teaching, and then some to meet some new ones that then booked me for this week. So that was kind of fun. I did receive, interestingly enough, some feedback from a few of the parents, and I looked at the time and thought, wow, it must not have been that bad because that was my 2 a.m. class and I got some good feedback. So I think I'm doing okay. I wasn't sure because by then my wagon was really dragging, but I did um, I did find it to be an interesting experience, and it was kind of my test run to see what does weekends do because I haven't been teaching weekends. I've been teaching 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. to 8 a.m. usually 8ish, 8:30 sometimes. So anywhere from a 3 o'clock class, I have one girl that always seems like is in the 3 o'clock slot. So she must have a sweet spot with her school where she's ready and at home and able to do it at that time. So I have been teaching those hours pretty much only. And so I decided to try a little weekend fun and see what would happen. And I was pleasantly surprised at how much they did put up in our teacher portal, hey, they needed some teachers on Sunday morning. And I had taught through till 1:30 Sunday morning. And I was like, I could open those up and So I did. I opened them up last minute, and I got 4 short notice classes from 7, 7:38, and 8:30 classes for Sunday, which was great for that extra pay. And it did show me a time frame that I could possibly use as a regular slot. So that's something to consider. I don't have to be to church till 10, so I could do that in the morning and still conceivably look pretty decent. I probably won't teach as late on Saturday night into the Sunday morning hour again, just because I felt myself doing this in church on Sundays. So that wasn't a good thing for me. So I will back it up a little bit that during that time, but maybe open up some Sunday morning before I leave for church classes that I could then have as potential slots. So that was my weekend. I thought I would just make a disclaimer here. I have received a lot of emails and messages, and I've been loving corresponding with you guys. It's been fun. I have so many people that I correspond with now that I enjoy. I have one particular lady that we text nonstop, and she knows who she is. We have a really good time just enjoying laughing about some of the fun things that happen in our classes. And hey, here's my schedule. I'm nuts. Not gonna lie, last night I slept in my orange shirt because I was just like a 3:30 wake up call. I was gonna just get out of bed and go, so I did. So I typically work in my pajama pants, and I have my orange shirt on, and it's usually cold here in the morning, so I have to have a sweater on. And I try to make sure it's obvious that I have my orange shirt on, so that people can see that I do have the lovely orange. I do like to joke this isn't the prison issue orange that you normally see on on movies and TV shows. This really is the happy VIP color. But anyway, so that's my one disclaimer is just I don't know it all, and so I'm not claiming that. I'm learning. But what I am trying to do is say, hey, here's what I've learned thus far. Here's my trial and error. I have fantastic booking rates for someone who's only been in it. Well, I've been here less than a month, and my booking rates are fantastic. I have so much that my husband and I talked about, like, let's scale it back now and hone it in on just certain hours, and then it's time for you to just, cut that off. He actually said to me, you have to have time where you step away from the VIP camera, and but I had gotten into such kind of a little bit of a challenge with myself to see where the sweet spots were that I got carried away and took a whole bunch of classes. But so that's kind of my probably my problem. But I do use the 24-hour box. I keep getting asked that question. I still use that. Here's how I use the 24-hour box that has worked for me. It may not work for everybody because your schedule's different. Your life situation's different, and I'm definitely not a spokesperson for everybody's individual situation. But this is me, okay? So if I have a 4 o'clock class like this morning, I start everything open at 3 a.m. because I do have 3 a.m. bookers. I do. So I'm on Eastern Standard Time. So for some reason it's just a few little girls that for some reason at 3 a.m. and they're not young. So they must have a different school schedule. China is not on daylight savings time. So their hours never change. So they're constant. They are always their same hours. But the school system is very different there in that they have longer breaks for lunch or later breaks, and then they go back and do a few classes and they come home at like 6 o'clock. So sometimes they have classes like that and sometimes they don't. It depends on their school system, their school district, and how they do it. So not every school is the same as it is here, which is, roughly 8 a.m. to, 3:30 or 8:30 to 3:30 or 9 to 4, all in that little range. They sometimes have these long lunch breaks and then they go back and they work into the evening. It used to kind of be hard for me to see when I lived in China because I would see those poor kids dragging home from school at 6 o'clock, and I'd think, got to be tired. But every school is different, and I know in America there's a lot of different testing things that are being done out there with school systems and start times and all of that kind of thing and delays, and so that's just for me. I'm still keep open 3 o'clock when I first start out, but when I get my booking then I look at the weekend and I say, okay, Monday morning, what do I got? I got a 4 o'clock class booked. I shut everything down before that because I'm not getting up to check and hope. I'm just going to sleep, but I have had, like today, before I went to bed last night, I had 4 o'clock and then 4:30 open, 5 o'clock and then 5:30 open, and then 6, 6:30, 7, 7:30, 8, and 8:30 all booked. So those open classes were still open when I went to bed, and I left them at 24-hour boxes because I was already up. I got up and they were booked. So I had back to back to back classes, but I had some short notice classes in there, which obviously brings more pay, but it gives more of an opportunity for somebody to get a class in. It doesn't happen every day of the week. I really do notice that Mondays is a big morning for me to get those extra classes slotted in. I do notice that I am through the week getting more and more bookings, and then I leave that 24-hour box open till I go to bed at night. I get right before bed, I take a look at my schedule and I go, oh, okay, nothing scheduled till 5, so sleep in, and it feels, it's funny when it feels refreshing to sleep till 5, but I'll close everything down until my first class, and then most of the time I am booked through the rest of the time by the time I get up in the morning. That's just how it's been working for me. I'm not saying that's a standard across the board. I do want to warn new teachers. On the Fresh Desk forum, there's a lot. I shouldn't say a lot of, that's incorrect. I should say there are some naysayers who say there's not enough bookings. There's not. They have too many teachers and not enough classes available. That's just not been my experience. Like I said, I've been here less than a month, and I have plenty of bookings there. I, I'm just going to lay it out. I'm not like I said, I'm not a teacher by trade. I'm not a certified teacher in any state. I have a bachelor's, but it's in a business setting, so it's not even in education. I don't have a master's. I have done some lifetime living in China. Maybe that is a help to me. But I really seriously doubt it when some of you have credentials that are much higher than mine. And I know there's a lot of teachers with far less time experience teaching who are getting bookings. There's young teachers out there with a few years of experience, and maybe they have a few years under their belt, but they're getting good bookings. So be careful not to listen or take that to heart, and remember that this takes time. This is a business that you're building in the sense that you're working a system to figure out what works for you and what works for time slots for students. And be patient. Week 1, I had one student, one. And I was like, really? One? And it was a technical difficulty, and it was canceled. So it was like a letdown. Week 2, I'm forgetting my numbers now, but I think it was maybe 10. So then week 3 was like wham. Actually, I think 2 was like 14, and then week 3 it was like wow, double and a half, and then now I have well, I think, and then like I said, I did 33 in one weekend. So there you go, and that wasn't all of them. I think I did 60 something this past week, 67, I think, last week. So, we're doing pretty good here. I'm moving along. That may not be rock star with the company, but that's okay. That's not where I'm aiming. I'm not aiming for, what do they call it? Some people write on there like the top producers, or whatever. That's not me. I'm just looking to, to use this as an income opportunity. So for all of you who are young and new, or new, not young, but new to the company, newbies like me don't take all of those comments and say, what have I done? I got scammed. It's not true. It's just not true. There's got to be something that can be done to fix it. Somebody can fix something somewhere. I have a friend who just started with the company. I think she's booking just her certain hours, and she only has, a small amount of slots left to get booked, but she had like 26 classes last week. Well, for a first week, 26 classes is pretty good. Like, think about what's going to happen when they get to know you, and you could do double that, and more, within a few short weeks to a few short months. It just depends, but just don't take it so quickly to heart that this is, oh, it's a scam. You're not going to get bookings. That's just not true. Work at it. Be willing to work at it. Adjust. Talk to people. Find out what other people have done that's worked, and then plug in. But that's my update for today, and just a little encouragement. Keep going. If you're new like me, keep going, because I feel like I have more than I need right now, and I'm glad for them, and I'm excited for my new students. I have had wow, how many signups now? Eight. Man, I've had $80 worth of signups, VIP signups. So whatever that translates into, it's quite a bit of signups. So take heart. You can get some new students that way too, which I have, by the way, because I see them now. I have a list of students that I've kept, to see, okay, I've signed them up. Now let's see if they stay with me. And then I have a list of students that recur. And I was just working on that today a little bit. And I have a good list of names of students that I'm seeing again and again. So it can be done if you just get diligent with what you're doing. Have a great day.